In the first part of how to create a login page, we created all the views, the view models, and we designed the login service leveraging the dummy JSON API. In the second part, we registered everything against the DI container, and in the end, we'll see how to create a messaging system to make the views communicate with each other. So just to recap, when the application starts and the framework calls this method on framework initialization completed, we get a bunch of stuff initialized, like the view locator. Then we create a service collection. We configure the view models and the view thanks to these partial methods, where we declare each type that we want to have available in our DI container. This one is for the view models and this one is for the views. Then we'll build the service provider, we configure the IOC container for the application, and then we get what we need, starting by the view model. Once we got a view model, if it's a desktop application, we assign the main window, passing the view model. And the same thing happens if it's an Android application, where we assign the main view instead of the main window, but always using the main view model. So now what we need to do is to register the view models and register the login and the secret view. Then we go to the view locator and we register the binding between the login view model and the login view, then the secret view model and the secret view. Just as a reminder, the view locator is a special service that we built so that we can produce a view starting from its view model. Now let's go back again to the app.cs file and let's register the login service plus its HTTP client. Now, this specific single line that you see here might need an entire video just to explore how it works under the hood. But to keep it short, let's say that .NET offers various tools when it comes to construct an HTTP client. And one of these tools is called iHTTP Client Factory, which provides a central location to configure HTTP clients, handle middleware and handlers, manages pooling and the lifetime of the HTTP client, and many other cool things. There are several ways the iHTTP Client Factory can be used inside an app. What you see here is called typed clients. I'll leave you a link in the description. And this provides a single location to configure and interact with a particular HTTP client, right? That we can declare inside the action. And basically, this method registers an HTTP client, this specific HTTP client. You can see that we are setting the base address to the dummy JSON website, and injects this HTTP client inside the login service as we specified here. If I'm not wrong, it's going to register the login service itself against the iLogin service so that we can get it injected in our login view model. Plus, it registers the HTTP client inside the login service. If you don't see the add HTTP client method, you just need to install the Microsoft.extensions.http nugget. After that, it should be automatically available. Alright, now that views and view models are properly configured, we only need to add a new button inside the main views sidebar. To do that, the first thing that we need to do is to go and look for an icon. We can do it by using the Avalonia's Fluent icons. Let's just look for lock regular, copy the code, and paste it inside the icons.xaml file. Fix the name and it's ready to be used. Now let's go to the main view model and set up a new list item template pointing to the login view model and specify the lock regular icon. For everyone that is watching this for the first time, this items list that we have inside the main view model allows us to navigate different views starting from the specific view model, and that's possible thanks to the transition in content control. Here in the view, you can see that there's a binding to the current page element, which is a view model that we specified inside our main view model. You can see it here. It's current page. It starts with a homepage view model, and thanks to that transition in content control, every time we assign a new view model to this property, the view locator will load the specific view. So once we added the login view model inside the items, all we need to do is to rebuild the project. And if the new icon doesn't appear, we can clean the whole solution, wait for the preview to show us this build project button, build it, and it should refresh everything. At the end, you should see a new icon with the lock on it. And if we click on it, the preview should already work. Okay, in this case it's not working, and let me see why. Okay, it doesn't work because we didn't specify a constructor without parameters. So the preview plugin, in order to work, it needs a parameterless constructor. So we just provide one like this by manually instantiating an HTTP client and calling the base constructor, the one with the iLogin service, and that should do the trick. So if we clean up the project again and rebuild, let's give it a try. And it's now working. Now let's run the application for real. Here we go. It compiles, it runs. We've got the standard views. And the last one, the login view, which seems to appear properly. We can type anything in the username and password fields. If you remember, we created a combo box with a list of valid users. So we can click on any of those users and you can see that it's automatically populating username and password fields. Now we might try to log in, but nothing is going to happen because we are not doing anything inside the login command. But we might try a wrong authentication. Let's change the username with something that is not existing. And if we log in, we can see that the error message is working properly. All right, now the next step will be to make sure that we can navigate to the secret page after a successful login. Just to recap, at this point we need a way to let the login page inform the main view model when a successful authentication happens. This way we can load the super secret view. So if we don't want to hammer a direct reference of the main view or view model inside the login page, we need a way to send a message after a successful login, and the main view model needs to intercept it in some way. And in this case, the community toolkit has the perfect solution for us, the iMessenger interface. You can find more info in the video description. The iMessenger interface can be used to exchange messages between different objects, using specific channels uniquely identified by a token or a shared channel to simulate some sort of broadcast communication. The MVVM toolkit provides two implementations out of the box, a weak reference messenger and a strong reference messenger. The former uses weak references internally, as you may guess from the name, offering automatic memory management for recipients, for instance, while the latter uses strong references and requires developers to manually unsubscribe their recipients when they are no longer needed. But in our case, the weak reference messenger is more than enough. Alright, let's go back to the project. To start off, let's create a very simple login success message. Let's create a new folder, let's call it messages, and let's create a login success message. To create a very basic message using the community toolkit, we just need to create a class, inherit from the value changed message. We need to pass the type of the content of the login success message, which in our case is the authentication result, and the result itself. We will request the result inside the login success message constructor. Like this. That's all we need. Let's simplify it. So this message needs to be sent every time we successfully log in. So let's go to the login view model, inject a reference to the iMessenger type. Let's call it messenger. Assign it to a private field. Oh yes, let's take care of the parameterless constructor. What we can do is, so the login service, and we can use a weak reference messages. Don't worry too much about it. This is just to make the previewer work. Now that this is done, let's go to the login method and just send, okay, all right, this is Copilot. Copilot is suggesting basically what we need to do. Let's hit tab. All right, that's basically what we need to do. We need to invoke the messenger and send a login success message, passing the authentication result. That's all. We just send a message on the wire, wait for anyone subscribed to receive it. That's it. So consequently, the next thing we need to do is to let the main view subscribe to this login success message. So let's go to the main view model. Let's declare a new constructor, inject the iMessenger as well, and subscribe the view model to the login success message by doing this. Messenger, here we go, Copilot again. So yes, it's register, there are a couple of things that we need to specify. One is the recipient type, which is main view model. The second generic parameter is the message we want to subscribe, which is login success message. And as parameters, this is fantastic. We need to pass the actual recipient, which is the instance of the main view model, and an action with 2 input parameters. I think one is the recipient itself, I don't remember, but the second one is the actual message, like this. So we are registering the main view model, and we are saying that every time a login success message is sent, take the message, which is a login success message, and all we need to do is to set the current page to a secret view model and pass the authentication result, which is stored inside the message. We have an error because we need to tweak the secret view model by passing an authentication result, and the token will be inside the authentication result. Oh, there is a typo. We need to inherit from the view model base, and that should be it. So the login view model is sending a message, the main view model is receiving it, setting the current page to the secret view model. This way the view locator will display the secret view. And oh yes, and the last thing that we need to do is to go to the app CS and inject the iMessenger. We can do it here, services that add singleton. We want it to be a singleton because we want every recipient to be synchronized on the same channel and on the same instance. So we want an iMessenger type, and let's pass a weak reference messenger.default. That's it. Okay, let's rebuild. All good. Let's give it a try. The page is loading. We can input fake credentials. The login doesn't work. Let's select a valid user. Let's log in again. And here we go. We navigated to the secret page, and this is the token they received after the authentication. And that's pretty much it for this video. As usual, you can find the source code on GitHub, and if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.